Hello everyone, in this video we will solve some CPT practice questions. This is important for the CPC exam. This video is part 5. To practice some more questions related to CPT, you can check the playlist CPT practice question series. The link will be mentioned in the description. Let's start with the first question. A patient requires a vasovasostomy. The surgeon operates on the patient while utilizing an operating microscope. How should these services be reported? Let us check the first codes from each option. In option A, B, C and D, let us check the first codes. They have given 55300 and 55400. Let us check these two codes. The code 55300 is for vasotomy for vasograms, seminal vesiculograms or epididymograms, unilateral or bilateral. The code 55400 is for vasovasostomy, vasovasoraphy. So which among these two codes is the right one? In the scenario you can see they have mentioned vasovasostomy. So the code 55400 is the right code. By this we'll eliminate option A. Now coming to option B, C and D. In option B they have only mentioned 55400. In option C and D they have mentioned 6990. So what is 6990? The code 6990 is for microsurgical technique requiring use of operating microscope. And below the code 55400 you can see they have mentioned for operating microscope use 6990. In the scenario they have mentioned the surgeon utilizes operating microscope, right? So we have to use the code 6990. Therefore option D is the right answer. We'll eliminate option B because in option B they have not mentioned the code 6990. And in option C they have given 6990 along with modifier 51. Okay, above the code 6990 you can find the guideline that code 6990 should be reported without modifier 51 appended in addition to the code for the primary procedure performed. It means that we should not append modifier 51 with the code 6990. Therefore, option C will be wrong. Whenever you get confused with such things, you can check the parenthetical notes or you can check the paragraph above the code if they have mentioned any guideline or they have given any clue to answer correctly. Let us move on to the next question. Read the question. A patient presents with a large mass on the left side of the neck. The patient is diagnosed with thyroid goiter. The surgeon performs a left total thyroid lobectomy. How should the surgeon's professional services be reported? In option A, B, C and D, you can see there are two codes, that is 60240 and 60220. So let us check these two codes. 60240 is for thyroidectomy total or complete and 60220 is for total thyroid lobectomy unilateral with or without isthmusectomy. In the question they have mentioned the surgeon performs left total thyroid lobectomy. Okay, and the code 60220 is for total thyroid lobectomy unilateral. Right, so we have to use the code 60220. We'll eliminate option A and D because that is for thyroidectomy. In the scenario they have mentioned thyroid lobectomy. Okay, so we'll eliminate option A and D. Now we are left with option B and option C. In the scenario you can see the surgeon is performing total thyroid lobectomy, that is on the left side. Okay, thyroid is a bilateral structure. Therefore, we have to mention left side, that is by using the modifier LT because it provides more precise information, right? Therefore, option B is the right answer. Let us move on to the next question. Read the question. A physician percutaneously placed a spinal neurostimulator electrode catheter array into the epidural area of the lumbar spine and subcutaneously place the spinal neurostimulator receiver with inductive coupling. How should the physician services be reported? In the options you can see many codes. So let us check the first codes from each option. In option A, B, C and D, the first codes are 63650 and 63655. Let us check these two codes. 63650 is for percutaneous implantation of neurostimulator electrode array epidural, and 63655 is for laminectomy for implantation of neurostimulator electrodes plate or paddle epidural. In the question they have mentioned the physician has percutaneously placed a spinal neurostimulator electrode catheter array into the epidural area of the lumbar spine. Okay, so it is matching with the code 63650, that is percutaneous implantation of neurostimulator electrode array epidural. Therefore, we have to use the code 63650. We'll eliminate the options which has the code 63655, that is option C and option D. Okay. By looking at the first code itself, we can easily eliminate the wrong options. We need not check the other codes in this option because if one code is wrong, the entire option will be wrong. Now we are left with option A and option B. In option A and B, the first code is correct. We already checked that. The second code is 63685. 63685 is for insertion or replacement of spinal neurostimulator pulse generator or receiver requiring pocket creation and connection between electrode array and pulse generator or receiver. In the question, you can see they have mentioned physician subcutaneously placed a spinal neurostimulator receiver with inductive coupling. Okay, and the code 63685 is for insertion or replacement of spinal neurostimulator pulse generator or receiver. So it is matching with the code 63685 because in the scenario they have performed placement of a spinal neurostimulator receiver, right? So we have to use the code 63685. Now in option A they have appended modifier 51. So what is modifier 51? Multiple procedures, right? We have to use modifier 51 in this case because here they are performing percutaneous placement of spinal neurostimulator electrode catheter array into the epidural area, and also they have subcutaneously placed a spinal neurostimulator receiver. So we have to use the modifier 51 to indicate multiple procedure. Therefore option A is the right answer. We'll eliminate option B. Let us solve another question. Before solving this question, don't forget to show your support to my channel by liking, sharing and subscribing to CodeMed Mastery. Read the question. A physician performed a mechanical vitrectomy using a pars plana approach with removal of pre-retinal cellular membrane via ophthalmic endoscope. During the same operative session, the physician removed a splinter from the posterior segment using non-magnetic extraction. How should the physician services be reported? In the options, there are many codes. So as usual, we'll check the first code from each option. Okay. So in option A, they have given 67041. In option B, 67036. In option C and D, again 67041. So let us check 67041 and 67036. The code 67041 is for vitrectomy, mechanical, pars plana approach with removal of pre-retinal cellular membrane, and the code 67036 is for vitrectomy, mechanical, pars plana approach. Okay. In the scenario, you can see they have mentioned mechanical vitrectomy using pars plana approach with removal of pre-retinal cellular membrane. Okay. So the code 67041 is for vitrectomy, mechanical, pars plana approach with removal of pre-retinal cellular membrane. So 67041 is the right code. We'll eliminate option B, which has the code 67036. Okay. Now we are left with option A, option C and option D. The first code is correct, 67041. Now let us check the second code. In option A, the second code is 66990. Okay. Below the code 67043, there is a parenthetical note. That is, for use of ophthalmic endoscope with 67040 to 67043, use 66990. In the scenario, there is use of ophthalmic endoscope, right? So we have to use 66990 along with 67041. Okay, therefore, in option C, they have not mentioned 66990. So eliminate option C. It is very important to check the parenthetical notes below the code because it provides very important information directing you to the correct answer. Okay, so we eliminated option C. Now we are left with option A and option D. In option A, along with 66990, they have appended modifier 51. But according to the guideline, we should not append modifier 51 with 66990. And also it is an add-on code, so we should not append modifier 51. So eliminate option A. Okay. Option D is the right answer. In option D, they have mentioned the code 65265, that is for removal of foreign body intraocular from posterior segment, non-magnetic extraction. In the question, you can see they have mentioned during the same operative session, the physician removed a splinter from the posterior segment using non-magnetic extraction. Therefore, we are using the code 65265 along with modifier 51, that is to indicate multiple procedures, because here two procedures are performed, right? That is mechanical vitrectomy and removing of splinter from posterior segment. Therefore, option D is the right answer.